Bum, bum, bum. Hello, friends. Welcome to the stream. I don't know what I'm singing. Hello, hello. We need people in here. Welcome. We have 15 seconds and then we're going. All right, maybe a minute and 15. Let people flock their way in. Welcome to the stream. It's going to be a spicy episode. Justin Horling. It's a great name. Justin Horling. I love it. CX3 Destroyer. Look at these names. What's up? How's it going, guys? Happy Monday. We made it through Monday. It's over. Good job. Justin Horling. Love the channel, bro. Thank you. Glad you made it. I think you're a new name. I think Destroyer's a new name. 2 new guys. Welcome. Thank you guys for coming. We're going to get going in a bit here. Give people an extra couple minutes to make their way here, and then we'll get going. Oh, I actually have a Twitter shout out that I need to give while we get started here. Mr. Mays 12 Wolf. Saving this for my morning commute. How wholesome is that? So, Mr. Wolf, Mr. Mays 12, welcome to the channel. And hope your commute's going well on Tuesday morning. We're in the future now. Okay. Let's get going here. Okay, so if you didn't watch this video, I'm going to post it in the chat. I'm going to rehash it real quick, and then we'll dive into film. I don't have a whole lot of film on this just because I didn't want to show a bunch of like bad film on people. It seems kind of mean just showing people messing up. But we can jump into which film you guys want to watch. Otherwise, we can just talk and do the usual stuff. Okay, so what are the bottom 3 position groups? Okay, I had honorable mention number 1 is defensive line. Okay, this is keeping in mind that you have Jordan Whitley, the Oregon State transfer, 350 pounds. He has had injury issues, but he is an immediate impact guy if he can get those things sorted. It's a big if, but you have him. You have Donovan Jeter, 5th-year senior, steady presence on the interior. He should be able to fill that kind of nose tackle type position. I don't think he's a true nose, but he's a steady presence, like a B, right? He's a B. He's not a next level NFL type guy. He might sneak into the draft, but he's a steady presence. And that's what you need on defensive line. You need bodies to rotate as well. Then you have Chris Hinton, former 5-star, now a veteran on the team. We've seen flashes from him, but nothing that's been like too consistent. So he could still break out. Sometimes these defensive linemen, it takes a while for them to really become who they are. I think he is what he is at this point, but those are kind of your starters that I see. You could put Mazi Smith. I actually thought about putting Mazi Smith in there with the starters as well. He was a high 4-star in the 2019 class. So this is about when you would expect him, his 3rd year, to really start to show up. So if Mazi Smith can show up, that's the, now is the time for him to break through. And then beyond that, the only other name really is Julius Welsh. German guy, 4th year as a Wolverine now. He was always going to be a project, and now it's his 4th year. It's getting late fast. If there's ever a year for him to, make an actual move here, this is going to be the year. Otherwise, if it's not him, then you're going to have Rayshon Benny. I'm going to have a future video coming out probably next week. I'm putting together the script tonight on which freshmen are the most immediate impact for this year. If Julius Welsh doesn't hold down that position, that gives room for either Rayshon Benny or George Rooks. I think it would be Benny to break through and provide some depth on the interior. So it's only honorable mention because there's a lot of bodies. There's a lot of bodies moving in there, and finally we don't have to rely on like a Jordan Glasgow, right, on the defensive line. You don't have to do a bunch of wacky stuff. You have enough bodies now to make it work. So that's why it's not in my bottom 3. Honorable mention number 2. This is one I mentioned in the video that could very well be in the bottom 3. I think this is me definitely being there's external factors here, I think. So it's tight end, and you have Eric All, Luke Schoonmaker. I still don't know. How do you say his name, man? How do you say his name? Should I look that up? Schoonmaker, how to pronounce. It seems like it should be Schoonmaker.
Schoonmaker.
Schoonmaker?
Schoonmaker.
Okay, I'm going to say Schoonmaker. But between those two guys, you have 15 receptions, under 150 yards, and 1 touchdown in their career. Okay? So not a whole lot of proven bodies there. You have Hibner and Hansen, sophomore and freshman respectively, as depth. One's a 3-star, one's a 4-star. But it's a young group. It's an unproven group. And Eric All had a lot of issues last year. He got open quite a bit, but his hands, man, that's the thing that he was really lauded for coming out of high school, and he just couldn't catch much last year, right? He really, really struggled despite getting a fair number of targets. So I think he's gonna bounce back, and I think Eric All is a difference maker type player for this team. And when I make a video of like 5 breakout players, Eric All is gonna be on that list, because I think last year, you could argue some things were anomalous, some things were not. I think a lot of things were not anomalous, but I think Eric All's performance is going to turn around. I think he's going to be somebody. So that's why I don't have them in the bottom 3, because I like Schoonmaker. I like him. I like Eric All, and I actually do like the depth that they have as well. It's just unproven. So it's very valid for it to be in bottom 3, but I didn't put it there. Okay, let me actually put some film on as I talk to this. This is going to be... Oh, I need to... Actually, give me a second. Give me a second here. Number 3 is going to be... look at this. Inception. You got faces. Okay, let me move my face here. Move that there. I'm actually just going to pull up... Where are we? I need to pull up Cade McNamara highlights. That's what I wanted. Every snap versus Rutgers. Okay, this will be a good backdrop, because we'll spend some time talking about Cade McNamara, I think. Okay, Cade McNamara. Oh, man, that's choppy as hell, isn't it? No, it's okay. Yeah, it'll be all right. I didn't render it. Sorry, I wasn't as prepared here. Who's going to start at QB? Look at this. Justin Horling with the perfectly timed question. So it's going to be Cade McNamara. Okay, I think you're a crazy person if you think it's not Cade McNamara. No, I know that's being like, and sorry for the quality. I don't know why the quality is kind of not the crispest on this, but here's why. He's now in his 3rd year as a Wolverine. Okay, the offensive staff didn't change a whole lot. Okay, compared to the defensive side, where defense is kind of like a free for all, whether you're new, whether you've been on campus for a while. Don Brown's out, completely new staff on defensive side of the ball. A freshman could earn playing time if their, strength is up to par, and they could steal the job from a seasoned vet, right? It's a whole new staff. They're going to have a whole fresh view. When you go to the offense, it's no commodity, right? It's Josh Gaddis' offense. Not a whole lot is going to change there. And I don't think it necessarily should, because there was a lot of execution issues and a lot of like poor quarterback play in general, and disjointed offensive line. So, DE, I just subscribed. I like your work and analysis, and a thumbs up. I appreciate you, DE. If you like the video and stuff, you can throw a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll appreciate it. But no, I really do appreciate that. But Horling, it's going to be Cade McNamara, because you don't just come in from either a different program or as a true freshman and start in Michigan's offense under Josh Gaddis. I just don't think you do. I don't think that's what Jim Harbaugh wants, and I don't think that's what Josh Gaddis wants. When there's so much reliance on timing, the RPO, the timing, the relationship with the wide receivers. There's so many factors that goes into being a quarterback at Michigan in terms of reads, comfortability, everything like that. Bowman only came in to the program this summer. Okay, so if anyone's going to be supplanting McNamara early, it's going to be J.J. McCarthy because at least he's had since the spring, right? At least he's had that. Bowman has only had since the summer. Sure, he brings more experience from Texas Tech, but like it's very different, right? And I actually went back. I did an episode of Talking Transfers on Alan Bowman. He was doing first read stuff, okay? A lot of this stuff for Cade McNamara is relatively quick throws, but he's going through progressions. He's going through progressions. And with Bowman, they didn't need that from him. They didn't ask him from that, right? You have McNamara going through progressions quite a bit and just asked to do, I think, a lot more than what Bowman was comfortable with at Texas Tech or even just asked. So there's a lot more of a gap for me of seeing what Bowman can do. Now, in this game, Rutgers, this is kind of the first, actually, I don't know when McNamara came in, but anyway, a lot of these throws are kind of first read that you do see from McNamara. But in terms of the RPO, and that's the main thing, RPO, McNamara was much more efficient than Joe Milton. And that's something that you're just going to have to be comfortable with. So it's strictly a comfortability thing. I don't think Cade McNamara is the best quarterback on the roster at all. I mean, it's J.J. McCarthy, but Cade McNamara is the most comfortable on the roster for 2021, okay? And he's no slouch. I mean, I think he has the potential to be a solid, top 5 in the Big Ten. If things go really well, he could be top 3. I think Michigan's got the talent around him to make him a top 3 quarterback in the Big Ten this year. I think without a doubt he can. So this is a long-winded way, Horling, of me saying it's Cade McNamara as number 1. And then it's kind of a 2A and 2B between Bowman and McCarthy. They're going to have to really simplify the offense. Oh, God, I forgot that hit. They're going to have to really simplify the offense if they want Bowman to come in and be a factor right away. Okay? And I just don't think they're going to. That was a great hit. And how quick can J.J. McCarthy get up to speed, right? Those are all questions that I don't have answers to. As the season goes on, I would have to think J.J. McCarthy would have a say there if there's any time going to the backups. But down the line, and let's actually throw on some J.J. McCarthy highlights, huh? Or actually, let's throw on some Alan Bowman. Oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that. What am I doing? There we go. Let's do that. Wait, what the hell? Oh, this is like an edited one of Alan Bowman. So as the season goes on, I think J.J. McCarthy will have more potential to make an impact than Alan Bowman, just because, I just think McCarthy's true to that 5-star talent. I don't think Bowman has that. So the ceiling obviously is higher for McCarthy, but I don't know. In an ideal world, both Bowman and McCarthy get garbage time snaps early on in the season. That's what you need, and that is so valuable. Against Western, against a couple of these, like Northern Illinois this year, you need to get those backups significant experience just to see what you have. How well do they know the playbook? How comfortable are they running the offense? That's going to be huge this year. I think that's going to be like an absolute must early on in the season, getting them that experience. Okay, let me see. Suev 10. If you watch every snap, the offense can move the ball well, consistently, given opportunity. When Joe was QB, there's constant 3 and outs. Cade leads whole state of Nevada in career passing yards. Yeah, I'm telling you, give Cade a whole offseason and some confidence he will do above average. I think so, man. Whiskey moved the ball immediately when he came in. Starters need the game time reps more than the second string. Well, but I guess what I mean is, of course you want the starters to get a lot of reps, but the first position that I would... So here's what I'm saying. Against Western Michigan, if Michigan goes up 21-28, the first position I would change is quarterback. First change would be quarterback. Get those backup quarterbacks reps with the starting team and see what you have. Give them live reps, right? Like first string reps. Give those quarterbacks up to speed there. Because you're not going to know what you have until you put them out there, and you don't want to put them out there when you need to put them out there. Okay? They're just not known at this point. And that's why they're number 3, because I do believe in Mcnamara. But how important is the backup quarterback? For Michigan, when's the last season that we haven't had to delve into a backup quarterback? Right? Like, when's the last time that we haven't had to do that? It's been a while. Okay. Number two, we're going to move on from the quarterbacks here. Cornerback. Okay, so last year, tough year. Right? Really tough year for cornerbacks. Julius Green, he's going to be a senior. Is he super senior? Anyway, I think he was okay last year. And I know a lot of people disagree with me. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I think Julius Green will be a 5th round draft pick when the time comes. I think he will. Julius Green has the measurables. I think he has the athleticism. It was always just a technique thing with him. It's taken a lot longer than I expected and probably what the coaching staff expected. But, man, I think he's going to be a plus cornerback this year. Okay? Now, Vincent Gray, I think, is a different story. I don't think he was ever expected to be the number 2 cornerback on the team. And that's nothing against him because I think he's a really good number 3 cornerback. Right? That's what we saw him when he started his career at Michigan. He was kind of that Brandon Watson mode, right? Where you need a 3rd cornerback, limited athletically, long, lankier cornerback, kind of like Benjamin St. Just as well. Maybe not as athletic, but that's kind of the mold of Vincent Gray, a taller, lankier guy who, if he maximizes technique, could be an average to above average cornerback, but limited against the true fast, deep threats. And you don't really want him on that. So that's not the best profile for your 2nd cornerback, right? It's just not it. Okay. I think he's a great depth player, but there's questions for Vincent Gray this year. I think it is. And then beyond that, it's just like, who else do you got, man? It's between like Jalen Perry, DJ Turner, Andre Selden, Darien Green Warren, and we've barely seen any of them. We saw like Jalen Perry for like 1 snap against MSU. Let me actually track that down. Let me see if I can find that clip. Excuse me. Let me see. Where are the corners that I found? Okay, this I think is all the cornerback clips. So yeah, this is the. Let me see if I can find it. It's against Michigan State, I thought. But anyway, these are just random cornerback clips. But yeah, we just haven't seen the depth, right? And when Vincent Gray was struggling a lot, the lack of rotation of a 3rd guy was the most worrying thing possible. Okay, because that showed they were not confident in anybody else. Because Vincent Gray was really struggling at times last year, right? As the season wore on, I think Vincent Gray warmed up a bit. He got a little bit more confident, played much better than he was early on in the season. But it still was, it was still an adventure. I'll say that. So the lack of like serviceable depth is worrying. I still think Darien Green Warren, though a bit limited, I think he could have a decent career. It's still just early for him. He's only a true sophomore. I like Jake McBurrows, true freshman 2021 class. I like him a lot. I really like Andre Selden. Last year he was out with COVID. So that's probably why we didn't see him. But man, I think Andre Selden should have gotten a chance last year. Maybe, health, he wasn't able to get his weight up, whatever it may be, not able to, it could have a big impact. So I'm not blaming him for that. But But yeah, it's worrying that we haven't seen any other corners on the roster, right? It feels like if we had Will Johnson this year, he'd already be starting. Okay, that's a scary thought process, right? Like when you have your 2022 class guys that you would wish would already be here for one of your starting positions, that's a little scary. And that's not a knock on Will Johnson at all. And then finally, let's move on to linebacker. Look at Justin Horling coming in this stream with just the best timed questions you'll ever see. Dax is way underutilized. I'd play him everywhere. One thing I'll say about that GDRCO is as a safety, Dax is doing a lot that you'll never see on the screen just because of the camera angle, okay? It's something that they just won't show because the camera just won't be focused on that. So a safety is affecting a lot, almost every single play, and he has had a huge impact overall on Michigan's play. So I don't necessarily think he's like being underutilized. He made a lot of plays last year, way more than he should have. They'll put him, I think, more in coverage than they did last year, 100%, like man-to-man coverage. They're going to do that. Might be why cornerback coach is gone. Everyone got drafted and he didn't recruit. Yeah, he wasn't Zordich was not a guy who hit the trail recruiting that hard. He could recruit well. Seemed like he didn't want to recruit. I think that's maybe more of the issue with him. Okay, moving on to number one spot here, linebacker. Okay, so Josh Ross, guy who was pretty damn good in 2019. And then 2020 came along, and he just was not good, right? I think we can pretty definitively say that. If you went back and watched any of my film analysis videos, man, Josh Ross, his name was brought up a lot, and not in the ways that you want to be brought up. So this is, I think, from I don't know what this is. I think it's just from his career. But I think Josh Ross is still a good player, okay? Huge hitter, like really thumper of a hitter, likely a captain of the defense. Under a new defense, your guess is as good as mine which version of him we get, right? He has it in him. In 2019, he was a plus linebacker for sure. And Michigan needs experienced guys, okay? So at least you have that with Josh Ross, okay? At least you have a veteran presence. So it's mainly about how quickly can he be that veteran presence in a new defense. That's going to be big. Again, your guess is as good as mine if he'll do it, but if there's a guy to do it, you would expect him to be towards the front of that. And then great hit there. The only other guy that you really have is Michael Barrett. And good timing on the footage. Ooh. I love that hit, man. Really, like the only good highlight from last year for any hype video. This year's hype video is going to be tough to make because that was the only good clip. But Vipers know more. So what do you do with Barrett, right? He was always more on like the linebackery side of a Viper than a safety, right? So that's good for projecting him to be a linebacker. I think he could be a very good middle linebacker, but it's, again, how quick can he make that transition from a Viper to McDonald's defense as a middle linebacker? Again, your guess is as good as mine. And then beyond that, it's a bunch of unknowns. DE, I heard Hutch is going to play linebacker some. I don't even know how much to read into that, right? Because that seems crazy to me. To put Aiden Hutchinson in a linebacker role, that seems crazy to me. And you can read that either as like A, BS, B, a giant red flag on the overall position group, or C, somewhat truth. Okay, and I see it as either B or C. I see it as major red flag if they're rotating him at linebacker they don't know what they have at linebacker yet, or they're scared about that position. But I also think it's more of just they're going to be rotating him a lot. And I think he's going to be like remember how you brought in Jabril Peppers on offense, but never really like ran anything to him? He was more of a decoy. I think they're going to try to like run Aiden Hutchinson around the defensive line like that, right? Is he coming on a stunt up the middle? Is he going to be dropping back into coverage? I think he can. I think he can sit over the middle as like a spy or something. He's going to be defensive end. He's going to be defensive end, and they'll put him as like that edge rush position as well. Those are going to be Aiden Hutchinson's positions. And so that's what you kind of got. Those are like your known guys that we've heard thus far. Ross, Barrett, Aiden Hutchinson. And then you have David Ogibo, Scottish dude, been around for a couple years. He's kind of like a Sam linebacker. He could fit the edge rush role as well. Saw some time last year, mainly in special teams. He's dealt with injuries throughout his career. So he's a name. Khalil Mullins, I'm actually really high on him. I think I had a video last year where I predicted him to be one of the most impactful freshmen. He did get in a few spot snaps last year and did make some appearances in special teams. So he's going to be, I think, a name to watch for this year. Nikhil Green was another name last year. He was out of West Bloomfield, appeared on special teams last year as well. And that's pretty much it. Those are the only guys with like game experience. And they only got game experience last year because I feel like they knew this year they would need those guys. Because beyond that, you have Junior Colson, Jaden Hood, Tyler McLaurin. All those guys are true freshmen, right? That's your depth. Michigan's had a fair number of transfers from the linebacker position that those transfers are now starting to hurt, right? Who'd you have? You had Jordan Singletary. I don't even know where he went. Did he go to Rutgers? One of those guys went to Rutgers. You've had a fair number of transfers out of the linebacker room that really, really hurt your depth. Of the freshmen, which one of those guys could start? Honestly, to me, it would be... I said that like one of you guys asked the question. I kind of asked it myself. It would have to be either Jaden Hood or Junior Colson. Nod goes to Junior Colson strictly because Junior Colson was an early enrollee and Jaden Hood was not. And that's a big thing with a new defense and being a true freshman, right? Getting acclimated. So I would have to and probably will give the nod to Junior Colson. I do really love his game. I think he's going to be a really good player. But again, it's just early, right? It's just early. It's scary. And linebacker is one of those positions, it's kind of like safety to me, where having a linebacker or a safety start as a true freshman is terrifying. Even when Dax Hill was back there and he was getting time as a true freshman, it was terrifying. Those are positions where you need just reps and practice reps, right? You need to be around for a bit for the game to slow down. Because otherwise, you're lost. The game just goes so quick. That jump in competition level is too much for a lot of those players. Understandably so. You have to be one of the quickest mentally on the field, not only on defense, in the entire game. You need to be extremely quick, and wasted movement gives up a touchdown if you're a linebacker or safety in certain positions, right? So it's really scary. What's Junior's size? Junior Colson, 6'2", 228. He's ready. And that was, he was a top 100 guy, high 4-star. He was a guy who was like, he's ready. He's ready physically to make an impact. Junior Colson is. So there's no concern from that point. It's strictly a mental thing. How quick can he learn the defense? But again, like I said, it's going to be it can either be a detriment or it can be a positive depending on how you look at it. Everyone's on the same playing field in terms of learning this defense, right? Everyone had to start new. It's not Don Brown's defense anymore. It's McDonald's defense. So honestly, even though this is the number one position, linebacker, it's almost more on the position coaches and the overall defensive staff, right? I mean, if you're looking for number one concern, that's kind of my concern. How quick can you turn these guys around? How quick can you instill a defense? And that's going to be the difference. I think there's enough talent on the roster. How efficiently can you teach these guys as a first-time coordinator and get them up to speed for the season? I mean, that's the $1 million question. You can have all the talent in the world if you don't have the coaching staff to get them prepared. Then what are you doing? Doesn't matter. Colson and Hood are both going to be studs after year 2 or 3. Yeah. I mean, I think this is an insanely good linebacker class. Junior Colson and Jaden Hood, very similar players, like very close to each other in terms of their playing style. And I really like Tyler McLaurin as well. I think he's underrated as, he's right around 500. I did episodes on all these guys, by the way. Freshman feature, you can check out those videos. But yeah, it's gonna be scary, man. And the thing is, though, we can't look, as far as the defense, we can't look at this defense and be like, here we go again, 2020 defense, more of the same. It's gonna be, you have to look at it like a blank slate, right? It's completely new staff. We're at ground zero now on the defense. So we don't know how quick they're gonna, if someone hits a slant across the middle, we can't blame Don Brown. Okay, that's all I'm trying to say here. We don't know how quickly they're going to learn the defense, how soon they're going to layer in different elements of the defense. We simply don't know. That's the thing. Top concern is coaching. I mean, yeah. I'm not going to say no to that, right? I feel like that's kind of an elephant in the room at this point. But it is linebacker. It's linebacker at number 1 most concerning. Number 2, corner. Number 3, quarterback. Hopefully they surprise us like 2017 defense. Feel like this team with a lot like that team with John O'Corn. So that 2017 team didn't have a quarterback, right? That was kind of like the main thing. I feel like Michigan's a little bit better than John O'Corn, knock on wood, right? I mean, I don't know. The defense, and I've said this before on other videos, I'll say it again today. If the offense isn't ahead of the defense, you're going to be looking at a losing season. I truly believe that. If the offense is not a better unit overall as the defense, you are looking at a 6-6 or worse season. Defense, I think, has enough talent to be in the 35 overall defense in the country. Okay? Not great, but not terrible. Okay? I think they can get it to that. The offense needs to be a top 10 offense if Michigan wants to get anywhere this year. They have to be. Third year under Josh Gaddis, there's no more excuses. And Jim Harbaugh's fate rides in the offense this year. It is. It's going to be. You got enough offense to make it work. Let me see. Give our playmakers the ball, watch them work. Yeah. Great wide receiver room. One of the best running back rooms in the country. I'll say that confidently. Wide receiver room, I don't think it's probably third in the Big Ten, maybe. Ohio State's really high up there. Maryland actually has some good wide receivers. I'd have to look throughout the Big Ten. But wide receiver has good depth, plenty of weapons. And I think tight end group will turn it around as well. So with that and a little bit better offensive line this year, offense has enough weapons. You'll be fine. GDRCO, I know it's not high on your list, but Michigan has classically been about the running game. What will Mike Hart's impact be? So this is the thing. Jay Harbaugh always got a rough rep just because he was coaching running backs. People hated him for it. He recruited the position really well. I really like, despite not being with the program any longer, I really like Zach Charbonnet, Christian Turner. I think it was just too loaded of a room for those guys to be here anymore. When you bring in a guy like Donovan Edwards, I'm super high on Blake Corum. He's number 1 on my list of breakout players. And then you developed a guy like Higdon, who was a really good running back. Hassan Haskins, who was ranked around 700 overall, linebacker into running back. He's phenomenal. So Mike Hart coaching the position, he is going to be a really excellent evaluator of talent. And I think Mike Hart he's going to be a better position coach than Jay Harbaugh was. Jay Harbaugh identified talent, I think, extremely well, probably didn't develop it the best. I think that's probably fair to say. So I think there's going to be a lot of little things that Mike Hart can bring to the position as a coach, being a former player. I think he's a really, really good position coach. Mike Hart is. I mean, you look at his stats everywhere he went, whether it's with Stevie Scott at Indiana, you go back to Eastern Michigan, he had a 1,000-yard running back. That's rare for Eastern Michigan. So he's been able to produce quite a bit. And he's both recruited well at those positions and developed that talent well. So the thing I'm most looking forward to is the development of the running backs on the roster. I think even Haskins could develop into a next, like he could find a next gear. And I think Blake Corum is going to realize his ceiling under Mike Hart. I think he is. So I have really, there's a reason they were number one on my list of positions I was least worried about, right? My top positions going in this year was running back. They were number one. And a big part of that is just the talent in that room. But Mike Hart, I think, is a guy who maximizes the talent in the room. Okay, and I don't think you can say that about every position coach on Michigan. I don't think you could say that at all. But I think Mike Hart's a really solid position coach that's eventually going to make his way into the head coaching ranks in 5 years or so. I think that's Mike Hart's future. So yeah, if this team needs to be a heavy run team, okay? I think they need to be. With that running back room, throw in a Donovan Edwards as your third running back, dude, if they're not being a full, run first team, then I don't have faith in this team. I'm going to be honest. They need to be. They need to be. And the other aspect that I haven't made a video, I haven't really talked about, quarterback coach. Bringing in Matt Weiss as quarterback coach. The biggest issue last year, if you watched my video, let me pull it up. Joe Milton, Cade McNamara. Yeah, this video. This video did really well for me. How McNamara reset Michigan offense, okay? How Michigan ran the RPO last year limited the offense more than anything else, okay? And what I mean by that is on a read option, there's always a player that you are reading. Whether you give, whether you throw, there's always that player. And based on their positioning and their momentum, the quarterback has to decide whether to keep or throw, right? That's the conflict player. And Michigan always, when that conflict player was in a gray area, right? He was kind of in the middle where it could be plausible to give or to read. They always chose the same option every single time. And when you do that as a defense, you playing in that gray area, and I'm right in this path, and I know, even though my momentum's taking me towards the run, if I'm in that gray area, it's going to be a give for the quarterback to the running back. That is all I need to win the numbers battle inside the box and make that play as that conflict player. And Michigan played into that every single game. And that goes back to the quarterback coach. If you're not repping a million times every week, here's the RPO. Players in conflict, where's his momentum going? Wrong read, boom. If you're not repping that, that should be priority number one for a quarterback coach in this offense. It's absolutely huge. So when you're asking the question of how important is the run game opens all of that up. And the better off you are in the run game, the more that conflict player has to play to that run game, right? If you're an efficient running team, you'll have the numbers without that conflict player deciding to put himself into the run. As soon as you become a better running unit, that conflict player has to overplay the run to account for that advantage the offense has. As soon as you start establishing that, then guess what? That conflict player is no longer in that gray area, and it eases up your reads significantly. And Michigan was never able to get to that point last year. Offensive line issues, never really able to just read the RPO correctly. So there's a huge number of variables in a lot of these things, right? I'm simplifying a good deal here, and a lot of it's probably outside of my depth, but that was my analysis of last year. If you can't take advantage and you can't hold the pen last, which is something that Gaddis always said, if you're not the one making the decisions on the offense, the defense knows how you're going to handle those conflict reads, you've already lost. If your offense is based on reading off of the defense and you're incorrectly reading off of the defense, you're losing the numbers battle. That's everything. That's how you lose a game, and Michigan found ways to do that last year. Might be best to run the ball and keep defense off the field. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a big part of that last year as well, right? People ran the defense into the ground last year, and appropriately so. But how much was the offense really doing for the defense? It wasn't helping. The offense was really bad. And this is a good point as well. Dooney done. It's all going to be on the offensive line. How well can the offensive line gel? And that's a big point as well. If the offensive line doesn't gel, everything I just said doesn't matter. Your quarterback can be making all the right reads. You can be hand the ball off at the right time, throwing it right at the other time. If the offensive line isn't protecting you or opening up holes for the running back on those give reads, then what are you doing? You're fighting a losing battle, right? And that's a big part of, I think on the last live stream, it was brought up that there were rumors, I don't know if they were confirmed or not, but the offensive line had to be split into two separate groups because of COVID protocol, right? And that makes sense. You don't want all of your offensive linemen to be in one room. They all catch COVID and they're just screwed, right? So it makes sense that they would split up some of the offensive line. Think of the chemistry that's necessary to fully form that offensive line unit. And if Michigan was not able to do that, that would explain some of the issues that we saw last year with the offensive line as a whole. So that's a really good point of how well can the offensive line gel. It's going to need to be up there, but with a full spring, you got to be more confident in that overall. And I do like the talent in that room. If Jim gets fired at the end of the season, are you on the Matt Campbell train or someone else? Oh, Star-Lord, I hate this question, man. I'll tell you because I'm going to keep it short. I could do a whole live stream on this topic for sure. My short response to that would be beating Ohio State is like beating Bama any given year. And in order for Michigan to recruit better, to win any sort of championships, and for fans to be happy, you have to beat Ohio State. Ohio State is your gatekeeper to the Big Ten championship, to the playoff, to better recruiting because you can't win a championship or go to the playoff. Ohio State is everything through that. And when you're asking a team to beat Alabama year in, year out, I mean, even once every 3 years, who's beating Bama that often? That's my take. And Matt Campbell, while I think he's doing a great job in Iowa State, I don't think there's a silver bullet to beat the machine that is in Columbus, Ohio right now. And the thing that you need for Ohio State, you need them to miss. Okay? And what I mean by that, they haven't missed at a lot of really big positions. This is the first year where they might miss at quarterback. We don't know what they have. They're probably not, right? Because it's Ohio State. Like, if you gun to my head and you say, will Ohio State's quarterback be good this year? I'll say yes. Like, he's going to be probably towards the top of the conference, right? But you just need to capitalize on that moment, okay? You could argue 2017 was that moment where they didn't have that. I mean, Michigan was right there with John O'Corn, but Michigan just didn't have it. So, I don't know, man. Am I a fan of Matt Campbell? Yeah. Do I think he's a golden ticket to turn the program around? No, because everything runs through OSU, and I'm kind of the pessimistic mindset that OSU is a machine and will keep going till they have like some sort of fallout or major positional issues, like a couple quarterback transfers, whatever. So I don't know. Why did Michigan let Warner go? That's true. Clemson does beat Bama every 3 years. But what does Clemson have? A quarterback. They do every year. Okay. Why did Michigan let Warner go? This one's weird. I don't know. There was some weird like personality like conflicts. It seemed like more of like a personal thing, like clashing between coaches and stuff. There was also talk of like a GA that was doing a lot more than what Warner was doing. So I don't really know. I heard like a lot of voices saying that like it was a good thing that Warner was gone. So I don't know. I think Sharon Moore is going to be a really good offensive line coach. I think he will. If you can keep him around. He's probably going to be gone after a couple of years to go elsewhere though. Talk offense all you want. If the D is as bad as last year, they have no chance. 12th rated D in the conference. I'm going to actually look up S&P Plus 2020 football, right? SP Plus. F Plus, is that what they call it now? I don't even know anymore. What was Michigan's defensive ranking? Okay. Put it in the chat. What was Michigan's defensive ranking last year? In their defense in 2020. No, he transferred out. Holy cow. Okay. So according to F plus, right? This used to be SP plus, whatever. Michigan had the 88th defense last year. That's really bad. That's really, really bad. Oh, man. I didn't realize it was that bad. And yeah, are there any other Big Ten team? Illinois. And that's it? Is Illinois the only one? Am I missing another one? You said 12th in the conference. It looks like it looks like 13th. So yeah, man, the wheels fell off the defense last year in a monstrous way. Okay. Not gonna say anything otherwise, and no excuse for that. Okay. Really bad. Really bad. Defense, I'm going to go out and say there's no way this defense can be worse. Okay. I'm knocking on wood. But I think it can be a top 40 unit, maybe top 30. 12th number of points allowed. Yeah, it wasn't good. And the offense still wasn't good, but there's the argument, how good can an offense be when you're 88th in defense, right? The offense needs to be top 10 this year if Michigan wants any shot of doing anything this year. And even then, I think the defense is going to be the limiting factor. Okay? So, yeah. I feel like Michigan rotates too many receivers. Maybe. Okay, we're getting long here. I got to go put together a script for a video. I don't think I'm going to be around on Wednesday. I think I got other things going on. We'll see. I do have some channel announcements that'll be coming soon. So please subscribe if you want to see that. Some exciting stuff coming up. But yeah, thank you guys for coming out. Had around like 35 viewers. That was great. Appreciate you guys checking it out. I'll definitely be back next week. Might have something else this week. We'll see. But I will see you guys later. And please post any additional questions in the chat here, and I'll get back to them. I'll get to them later tonight in the comments below. But have a great night, guys. Thanks for coming out, and we'll see you soon. All right, take care. Go Blue.